Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we look at the current energies, the intuitive wisdom and insights, and we go as guided. And action-packed as always. Welcome, Alicia. So we are going to just jump in to cover it all and keep the flow moving because not to start off with, we are in turbulent times. And this is not our main theme, but it's just to remember and recognize we are in massive change, this moment of massive change. So these turbulent times and how tower moments can play a role, but it's not to get caught up in them. Welcome, Elizabeth. Welcome, Dr. Sue. So, pardon for the clap. And so it's just to remember, and these 555s, maybe major life changes. This is where we are. We're being pushed and squeezed but to advance. And so let's take a look at our main energies. We are working all month long. It's February 2025, so we are working with the receptive, the divine feminine, and to reflect on things. It's a 5, so it's nourished while waiting, that we have everything we need as we're taking these steps, as we're navigating these turbulent times and this change. It's a 9 all year long, so we've got small restraint, surrender. Remember, it's the Hermit card. It's that beautiful Hermit card where, here it is, where the light in the lantern is the star card in the tarot. It's Aquarius, it's air, it's Uranus, expecting the unexpected, higher mind. And yet the Hermit card is represented by Virgo. It's an earth element and the planet Mercury, how we think, communicate, speak, and so forth. So with this small restraint surrender all year long, it's about just taking each step as it comes. Because remember, it's not the Hermit card, the lantern isn't going to illuminate down and around the corner. It's only going to illuminate the next few steps. And then this culminates in 16, enthusiasm, excite. And so it's to remember, be childlike, have enthusiasm. It can be challenging, and it's so that we don't get sucked into the vortex of all of this chaos, that's this turbulence that's going on. But it's also not to be ignorant of the facts. And then last but not least, it's 7, army, correct discipline. And so take the right steps. Now, next we want to move into, because this is just so cool. So here's what's going on astrologically. We've got Uranus direct. We've got Venus in Aries. We've got Jupiter just stationing direct yesterday. So now Jupiter is direct. And remember, when a planet stations, and certainly an outer planet, Uranus, Jupiter, the magnitude, the impact of that energy is heightened. It's a good week prior, week after. It's the train in the station, the rumble that you feel. We also then have Neptune conjunct the North Node. So North Node is where humanity is going. Neptune is about the ideal, the highest ideals, but it can also be about illusion. And you'll see why this is important. And then last but not least, coming up on the 9th, we have the Sun-MERCURY CAZIMI. And a Sun-MERCURY CAZIMI, remember, is when a planet is with the sun conjunct together, and thereby it's like being in the forge. It burns away all the impurities so that what's left is a higher octave, a higher purity. So in this case, Mercury, our thoughts, our speech, our actions in that sense. Mars is action, but it's how those influence our actions. And just to look back at this, so these elements, they all speak to peak performance. This is what I heard from the unseen. Peak performance, it's go time, because every planet is direct except for Mars. And Mars goes direct at the end of February, I believe on the 24th of February. So it's this peak performance. Welcome, Olivia. Peak performance, it's go time. And then I heard the word, and I want to show you why. Here's the astrological chart for Jupiter going direct. It's stationing direct that just occurred yesterday on the 4th. And remember, these energies, whenever you come to the Weekly Wisdom and Insights episodes and so forth, wherever you are on your journey and whatever episode you stumble upon, it's perfect timing. It's divine time. So these all energies arc out, and where we all are, and you'll understand why I'm saying this too, we're all at different places on our journey, in our evolutionary process and so forth. So no matter the date, no matter the topic, whenever you find it, it's right for you. But here's the issue. So catapult, we're looking at this Jupiter stations direct, and Jupiter, the great benefactor, Uranus, the higher ideal, higher mind, expect the unexpected, direct. Well, when you look at the inner ring, it 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 brought up the ancient catapult. So, back Roman times and Greek times and so forth, that thing. So an ancient catapult was a military weapon that could hurl stones, spears, or other projectiles at enemy soldiers. The catapults were used by the ancient Greeks, the Romans, and the Chinese. They were powered by releasing tension on bent wooden beams. The sling would release the projectile, sending it flying in a high looping arc. And some catapults were so forceful they could literally cast stones up to 350 pounds in distances greater than 300 feet. So why is this important? Because these energies, again, we speak about this a lot. So we can be catapulted in our lives. I mean, like quantum leaps forward, unexpected events, because it's peak performance, it's go time. So literally just, boom, we're just launched forward in the most beautiful, positive way. That's one aspect. And of course, its shadow aspect is the things can be hurled at us if we're in reactionary, or because it's that butterfly effect from last week, and we'll get to that in a second. But remember, what we're putting out is already coming back to us. It's the boomerang effect. It's the butterfly effect. Is the action flapping the butterfly's wings here all the way around the world can cause a tsunami there. So add the boomerang effect, the butterfly effect, and this catapult. So we can be advanced beautifully, like just unexpectedly. Whoom. And at the same time, its opposite, if you will, its shadow aspect is if you're being shady, if you're doing illicit things in life and so forth, that catapult can be coming at you. And thereby, because again, what you're putting out is what's already coming back to you. So we have this, and let's go to our main theme, fortune. The future favors the bold. Welcome, Heather. Butterfly medicine. And so you see the streaming light, you see that constant guiding star, and you see this just beautiful butterfly on this delicate branch, if you will, of flowers. Fortune, the future favors the bold. Butterfly medicine. What does this mean? Well, it means that, again, it's the Aquarian age. It's matriarchal. It's intuitive. It's about harmony, balance, divinity, but it's also about authenticity, truly operating from our soul source connection, from our innate light. And when we're in harmony with that, fortune, it favors the bold. The future favors the bold. It's going to be about being authentic. When we're inauthentic, when we're going against the grain, against the way, you can see it on the world stage. It's a you-know-what storm. It's just chaos and confusion and shadow and darkness and manipulation, all this stuff, all this chaos. It's not pure. It's not authentic. It is not in alignment with the way. And the arc of destiny is forward. So there's no holding the future back. So, and I just want to go back over last week because we had divine intervention, and that the age of Aquarius, and that clarity, resistance, and renewal. So again, butterfly, think butterfly. So clarity, resistance, and resistance meaning not against the future or something, but resistance against the wrong way. In other words, for the way. It's resistance against something that you know not to be true and correct. And then renewal. Well, divine intervention. is an event or events that occur when a deity, meaning God or gods, becomes actively involved in changing some situation in human affairs. So it's important to recognize from last week, this divine intervention. It means a higher hand, a higher octave. God, Allah, Buddha, Source, the all that is, however you ascribe to the unseen. It becomes actively involved in changing some situation in human affairs. So this is where it's always been present. It's getting louder now. Can you hear it echoing? They're giving me, Take My Hand. They're giving me that song. It'll come to me. But they're giving us, it's never enough. From The Greatest Showman. That's the song. It's this thing of like the greatness of the stars, the greatness of the unseen, this divine intervention. So we're going to work with how we've got certainty. It's number one from the unseen. Certainty in the face of uncertainty. Because it's chaotic, it's turbulent times. But there's certainty in the uncertainty. As long as you don't buy into the chaos and the confusion, don't stick your head in the sand either. Don't be the ostrich. But don't get sucked into all of the chaos and the confusion and the anxiety and the angst. It's an illusion. It's happening for a reason. It's painful, but it's purposeful. And so, because again, to see the worst of the worst, the guck and the goo and everything, under its own weight, it collapses. So it's not being trickled out. It's just full frontal. Here it is. But under the weight of that, it collapses. Because what's before us is the world that came before us and the world that is before us. So we're moving this direction, certainty in the face of uncertainty. Make room, make space to grow and change. And I just want to go to that because those are our key words. Our key words are convergence and growth. Convergence, the act of converging and especially moving toward union or uniformity. We've talked about unifying from the inside out, that we're moving towards this higher octave of union, of uniformity, oneness. And that's very Aquarian, when two or more things come together to form a new whole. So where we've been fragmented, the ideal becomes the new reality, where two or more things come together to form a new whole. The fact that two or more things, ideas, etc., become similar or come together. And remember, there's that famous passage, biblical passage, where two or more are gathered, there I am. So this unity, this Aquarian message. And then we have growth, a stage in the process of growing, the act or process or a manner of growing. Growing, development, gradual increase, the process of increasing in size, quantity, quality, or complexity over time. So convergence and growth, certainty in the face of uncertainty, fortune, the future favors the bold. And what that means, the future favors the bold. Authenticity, being bold, standing up, resist, standing up to, and placing all of your energy in the present future, in the forward aspect. It's about, again, be the change you want to see in the world. It's about aligning with all of that. I just got goosebumps everywhere. So it's about aligning with that. This is where we're headed. So let me just bring in two comments. Elizabeth is saying, I don't know about others, but the new moon illuminated all of the illusions my will was focused on ruminating on. Since I set myself up to nurture this event, everything did a 360 to abundance and joy, and most importantly, peace. I was so grateful to do the works. Yes. See, it's what we focus on. It's what we recognize. And when we're authentic, when we just sit with ourselves, no judgment. All of us, their shadow is here. Fear is here. All of these elements are here. It's what we do with them. It's how we harness their energy. And so when we sit and we just accept what is, I see this aspect of myself, ego, mind, personality, will, as Elizabeth is calling it. So When we recognize it, okay, I see you. And then it's the choices, the steps. There's the hermit, the lantern. What's the next step? What's the thing I can do that brings about a 360, that brings about abundance, joy, and peace instantaneously, in the moment, over the course of time? Whatever the process, but it's still about emptying out your vessel and purifying it. Alicia is saying, a friend is feeling overwhelmed by all that is happening in the US. The other day, she changed her Facebook photo to one of an ostrich. Thought of her when Dearjames mentioned hiding one's head in the sand. See, because we're all coping. And so again, perhaps the suggestion, this is what I'm doing. Instead of being so involved in reading every single thing in social media, in the news and everything, constantly, I skim the headlines so I understand what's going on, and then I step away for hours. It's like maybe once a day or something. And that way, I'm not being sucked in, but I'm also not unaware. I'm not sticking my head in the sand. And this way, it allows for us to maintain our equilibrium, our center. And then again, we listen. How are we being intuitively guided to stand up, to be authentic, to resist, to place our energies in a positive vehicle, something positive for something? It's naturally, if you will, there may be something that it's against and it's opposite, but your energy is not focused on what it's against. It's focused and placed on what it's for. And that brings about greater aspects of harmony and light and goodness. So let's jump into, we're going to start off with Carrie Hone at cafeosoul.com. We're starting with hexagram 50. It's known as the cauldron. And let me back up. Why are we dealing with hexagram 50? Where's the number 50 coming from? Well, it's 2-5-2025, but 2-5-25. So we got double 25s. And angel number 2525 suggests that it is time to make positive changes in your life and let go of old ways of doing and being that are no longer positively serving you. Release old doubts, fears, and perceived obstacles and look forward to wonderful new opportunities and adventures. This is from JoanneSacredScribes.com. Keep in mind that everything happens for a reason and nothing happens by chance. So even though the reasons for the changes may not be clear at this point, so we're looking for clarity, and there's Neptune with the North Node, which can bring about illusion. Trust that all will fall into place for you. These changes have come about so that you can break free from old restraints and constraints and freely pursue your soul mission and life purpose as a spiritual being. See, it's not about achieving your ego, mind, personality goals. It's about pursuing and achieving your soul mission, what your soul came to do, and your life purpose as a spiritual being. Angel number 2025 brings a message that changes taking place in your life will bring about a more spiritual perspective and approach, and your angels ask that you stay balanced and focused during these transitions. Be open to learning from all of life's experiences and make the most of each moment. So this is all about staying centered, staying balanced, being true and authentic, listening to your soul source connection, and going as guided. It's placing the ego, mind, personality in service to and concert with the soul. This is how we navigate these turbulent times. So now we go to Carrie Hone at cafeosoul.com and hexagram number 50. Inner and outer. This is our first quote. If I can find it, there we go. Actually, that's not true. It's number 2. So here we are. Anyways, inner and outer, it matters not. And you see this image of the caterpillar on this branch and then migrating towards its future self, or its inner self, if you will, the butterfly. And so inner and outer, it matters not. They cannot be separated. Famine within will always project itself upon the outer world. When you do what is expected of you, authenticity is lost and famine grows within and without. See, when we do what's expected of us, that means we're being inauthentic. It means that we're allowing someone else's agenda to manipulate us, guide us. The cauldron, hexagram 50 is the cauldron. The cauldron asks you to approach the invisible with a sense of reverence and sacrifice. The well is the source within, but the cauldron reveals how this source nourishes you in the same sense as food. The work you do in here will be powerfully reflected into events out there. Elizabeth was just talking about the doing the works. So see, the works you do in here internally will be powerfully reflected into events out there. This is how you can become the master of your existence. So our second quote is this beautiful: you hold the power to become the master of your existence. See, we hold the power, and again, you see this beautiful, vibrant, turquoise and speckled colored caterpillar that again emerges into this wonderful, beautiful butterfly. We go from being grounded to taking flight, air over water. We've been talking about this air over water element. So you hold the power to become the master of your existence. This is about doing the works. Here we are. Olivia is saying the only way evil can be destroyed is for it to come into the light. The light destroys it. Right, the light purifies it. It transmutes it. And it's like, faith and fear cannot exist in the same space at the same time. Choose. And one would say always choose faith. Faith over fear. Harness the energy of fear to catapult you forward. There's that catapult. So here we are again, hexagram 50, Carrie Hone at cafeosoul.com. Ting is associated with the alchemical process of transformation. Ting is the cauldron. So it's associated with the alchemical process of transformation where the distance between spirit and ego must evaporate. On the hero's journey to fulfill one's destiny, you are first called into initiation. You can choose to ignore the call or follow it. So you can choose to bury your head in the sand or follow it. Generally, the initiation begins when the ego has been wounded or a path suddenly ends. It's about recognizing the ego. It's about recognizing when am I in ego, mind, personality mode versus soul source connection mode. Therefore, the ting or cauldron is often about the deeper, spiritual, and more all-encompassing aspects of your journey. This is a powerful hexagram with a message about fulfilling your destiny and the enormous inspiration you possess to accomplish your aims. We have everything within us. There is nothing lacking. The only thing, if you ever feel like you're lacking, you're in ego, mind, personality lane instead of soul source connection lane. And the minute you stop and recognize it and go, that's my ego, that's, it's having this meltdown. But when you stop and go, but my soul is perfectly fine. My soul, the hermit, the star card, the light, it knows what to do next. So simply move through that energy. The cooking pot can show a situation in its beginning stages, such as taking a job to receive training or the early part of a relationship that is as yet undefined. The preceding hexagrams all describe change. So all the preceding 1 through 49 hexagrams in the I Ching, they all describe change. The well relates to access from the unconscious, where it is the unseen, the unconscious, where its inspiration leads to the necessary change described by molting or revolution. We had snake medicine, molting, shedding. So this molting, losing feathers, or revolution. And here we are, Pluto and Aquarius, not since the American, French, and Industrial Revolutions. The cauldron is where the actual change is taking place. So the message can be, quote, give it time. Something is still cooking. So we're coming out as the old is crumbling, the new is beginning. We're in that process. While the underlying cause of difficult beginnings suggested persevering or pushing onward toward your goal, The cauldron is a complete rebirth and reconnection with your life path. In other words, most of the hexagrams in the I Ching are reflecting the mundane or daily experiences we encounter. When you receive the cauldron, the perspective has broadened into a more omnipotent view of your life, divine intervention. So we have a higher octave view. All planets are direct except Mars. It's going direct in about 20 days, 19 days. So the perspective has broadened into a more omnipotent view of your life. If you are asking about work or relationships and receive the cauldron as an answer, you can be certain that fate or karma are infusing the answer. See, fated events, things that are happening that we're getting direct, solid information. There is enormous power in this situation. The hidden influence of determination or breakthrough will only work when you are on the right path. Because again, the unseen, angels, guides, soul, that soul source connection, it's true north. So it's only going to work when you are being true and authentic, soul you. Inauthentic, all of this chaos and craziness and what looks like it's going to crumble, it's going to collapse because it is not in alignment with the way. So, moral of the story, don't be shady, don't do shady things. Be true and authentic. Listen to your source, your soul source light. It guides you forward. And you can't even measure the greatness that it affords, the ease, the peace, the joy, to quote Elizabeth. Because look how much energy it takes for all this shady chaos. It's incredible. So last but not least, life can seem to be pushing back against you as a way of ensuring you get where you need to be. With the proper determination to succeed on your authentic path, success is assured. Since the cauldron is a spiritual vessel, this hexagram can portray enormous talent, creativity, or spiritual insight that you can tap. In a sense, you are the cauldron and your inspiration is boundless. It comes from source. It comes from the unseen. It is limitless. But again, what you can do, ego, mind, personality driven, shady, shadow stuff, that's limited. What you can do is limited. Because again, to Olivia's point, the light will pierce through the shadow, pierce the darkness, the shady goo, and transmutes it, zaps it. So Kiki is saying, I don't understand astrology and it's new to me, but believing in Aquarius keeps me from going back to boozing. Exactly, Kiki. Stay in the most pure lane. Understand that your soul and the unseen, oh my gosh, they love you so much. They love all of us. And what they want for us is who we truly are. Divine greatness. There's greatness within us. And so the beauty of the Aquarian age and the matriarchal era is this golden age, this glory that comes when we just keep aligning with it. That's where these messages are, and how we keep aligning with certainty in the face of uncertainty. This is what's on offer. So let me just go to our mantra, because our mantra is, this is my now. It's a play, it's the title of a song by Jordan Sparks, and we've had this before, but what I love is the juxtaposition of this image. Here's this beautiful, shiny, oh gosh, like purpley pink antique convertible car, right? And we've had that before. Remember about, it's In the Rearview Mirror, I believe was the show. And that was that same kind of antique vintage convertible car. What I love about it, and here this car is sitting on the streets of a neighborhood in Paris or somewhere, and you kind of see the gringe and the grime around this very shiny, beautiful vintage vessel. Well, your soul is that shiny, beautiful vintage vessel. And what it's going to do is move past, move through. This is my now. We're going to move through the decay, the kind of the goo and the guck, the stuff that's around it. And yet it's Paris. It's the city of lights. It's the city of love. And so we have this beauty of moving through to a higher octave. So our mantra is, this is my now. Lyrics to the song: there was a time I packed my dreams away, living in a shell, hiding from myself. There was a time when I was so afraid, I thought I'd reached the end. Baby, that was then. I am made of more of my yesterdays. I had to decide, was I going to play it safe? But somewhere deep inside, I tried to turn the tide and find the strength to take that step of faith. And lastly, and I have a courage like never before. I settled for less, but I'm ready for more. This is my now, and I am breathing in the moment. As I look around, I can't believe the love I see. My fears behind me, gone are the shadows and doubt. That was then, this is my now. So in the present moment, don't get caught up in the chaos, in the fear, in the past. To Kiki's, beautiful point, focusing on the Aquarius keeps me from going back. That was then, this is my now. It's what we do in the moment that matters. It's how we bring ourselves forward. So now we're going to go to butterfly medicine. And this is by Jess Hagen at urbanhealersofla.com. And I love this. So again, last week, the butterfly effect. This week, fortune, the future favors the bold, butterfly medicine. The butterfly spirit animal totem is ultimately about learning how to move with grace through 3 distinct phases of energy, so that when the shifts occur, our transition into the next phase is a smooth one. And so remember, any one of us could be at any different stage of these 3 stages. This is how life works. And wherever you are, it's perfect. So when at a loss, take a moment to identify where you are in the cycle of butterfly medicine. Is it time to push yourself? Is it time to tuck yourself in and zone out? Or is it time to launch into inspired action? Butterfly medicine is constantly fluctuating between social and antisocial activities. While other animal medicines may visit our lives for a time and then depart, butterfly medicine is always present in all we do because we are always in one of 3 stages of energy: the caterpillar stage, the cocoon stage, or the butterfly stage. Understanding the unique characteristics of each of these 3 stages helps optimize the enjoyment of your experience here on Earth. The caterpillar phase is all about repetition and data input. This is the time to gather and prepare. So the caterpillar, crawling along on the ground, its phase is all about repetition and data input, receiving, taking things in. This is the time to gather and prepare. Caterpillar inches towards her transformation with unstoppable resolve. She is at peace with the slow pace of things at this time and only concerns herself with eating her leaf bite by bite. The butterfly spirit totem is teaching you the importance of breaking your tasks down into accomplishable activities. See, it's not to get overwhelmed. It's the Hermit card. It's only showing us that lantern is only illuminating the next few steps. And so think of these, they're all moving. These 3 stages are moving. And in any given moment or day or span of time, we can be in any one of them, all of them. But it's about not being overwhelmed. So the caterpillar phases, bite by bite, breaking it down, not becoming overwhelmed. The butterfly spirit totem is teaching you the importance of breaking your task down into accomplishable activities. Some days are all about just eating your leaf. Keep going, keep trying, and keep moving forward no matter how tiny your advancement may seem. Again, when your soul is in alignment and we're not in ego, mind, personality land, we're at peace with, we're just taking bites. We're making, it may seem like no progress, and yet that's not true. It can be Wallace D. Wattles, small acts in great ways. The small acts, the small bites, all add up to delivering us to a place of greatness. Caterpillar knows that all those wonderful moments of flight and success were due to all the time spent in the slow process of effort. When it seems that your already slow pace has arrived at a complete standstill and you are at a total loss of what to do next, welcome to the cocoon stage. It is time to put effort down. There is nothing more you can do. In the cocoon phase, all thought processes lose their thread of logic. So sometimes it's about stopping. What's the next? You remember, to know to not do something is as powerful as it is an actionary as it is to know to do something. So here we have the cocoon phase, which is talking about realizing, listening, and the soul source connection saying, we're good, hold tight here. Don't go running out, don't force something, don't take this action. The inaction is action. So it's time, there's nothing more you can do. In the cocoon phase, all thought processes lose their thread of logic. You often forget the whole point of your goal, and the material you were once so familiar with suddenly seems strange and irrelevant. Frustration is the most common reaction at this point, but the medicine of the chrysalis asks us not to fight the phase of stillness we have entered. When cocoon energy arrives, let the dismantling process occur. See, these things are being dismantled. There's a stasis here, but that doesn't mean that it's inactive. When cocoon energy arrives, let the dismantling process occur. You will not be able to follow the play-by-play sequence of events that are about to happen to you, and your effort is no longer required. It is time to get out of the way and watch. When a caterpillar shifts into a cocoon phase, paralysis takes over and a single silk thread of energy begins to spin out from her inner infinite core. That silk is a product of all her efforts. See, it's everything, it's already there, it's already present, it's already part of your soul plan. And so sometimes the stillness, the inaction, is exactly what's required of you in that moment. That silk is a product of all her efforts. It comes from the cosmic mystery and carries new information impossible to predict. It is time to wrap yourself in the magic of your efforts and let go of all you think you know. See, that's ego, mind, personality. So we have to higher hand, divine intervention. So when we find ourselves in that cocoon stage, it's to hands off the wheel. Listen. Go as guided. We should do that actively all the time, no matter the stage, but it's greatly important in the cocoon stage. Inside the cocoon caterpillar breaks down every cell. So in the cocoon caterpillar breaks down every cell of her old body and liquefies herself into a matrix of potential. See, it's readiness to take these quantum leaps. There's the catapult. I mean, imagine going from a caterpillar to a butterfly. That's a catapult quantum leap. And it's a complete transformation. It's not like, which you'll see here in a second, it's not like the snake that sheds it and sloughs off its skin and it remains itself. We're going from caterpillar to butterfly. That's what's happening here. We're going from patriarchal to matriarchal, Piscean to Aquarian, from, 3D to 5D. We're making this quantum leap. And that's what butterfly medicine is teaching us and showing us, demonstrating to us. So literally, the caterpillar, she disintegrates herself with the full knowledge that she will emerge into astounding changes. Unlike snake medicine, which enters a process of renewal, becoming a new version of its same shape, the butterfly spirit animal totem enters a process of reinvention. We're reinventing ourselves. We're completely, again, we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. We're retaining the best of the patriarchal Piscean era, the divine masculine. But it's a complete reinvention. She becomes something completely different. When you've entered the cocoon phase, know that you are fragile. Easy does it. Be kind and gentle with yourself and with others. Remove yourself from activities that might tear your concentration. It is time to yield to total stillness. In the stillness, new information will arise. Receiving this new information may not be a mental experience you can keep track of, and it may not feel like anything except odd and indescribable. Well, one could say that this moment in time feels incredibly odd and indescribable. Never before. I mean, the chaos and the amount of shadowy elements, it's unfathomable, unfortunate, and yet everything's purposeful. So know that you are improving your sense preceptors. You are developing new capacities of understanding. Your old methods of perception are being redesigned by a force of nature beyond your limited physical comprehension. Divine intervention. Ever so slowly, as you hum from your cocoon, you will begin to feel new abilities suddenly appear. It's once, to Elizabeth's point earlier, when we're doing the works, when we stop and we take notice and stock, it completely changes. It's a 360. It completely moves us forward to a whole other existence, a whole other being. The butterfly is emerging. Will you believe it and step into your hard-earned magnificence? So Kiki, to this point, see, this is hard-earned. Your hard-earned magnificence. You can fly now, and there's not much time, so go. Let yourself act now. This is my now. Peak performance. It's go time. Waste no time scrutinizing the strangeness of what you have become or where it came from. Believe it and explore your new skills. In the butterfly phase, we feel optimal grace and clarity. Productivity is at high tide, and information seems to stream endlessly from an inner river of wisdom. Now is the time for glitz and glam. Go all out. Take the stage and find your light. So this is about being authentic and true and in your innate magnificence. The beauty and wisdom that emerges from an uninterrupted butterfly process is priceless and always worth the wait. It's about the steps. It's about the process, the hero's journey, the cauldron. It's about staying aligned and focused. And it's never ending, but it's a beautiful process. It's not like it's not like, oh, the destination, it's that famous saying, it's not about the destination, it's the journey. So this butterfly process, it's endless, but it's also priceless and always worth the wait. Butterfly is also a pollinator whose actions have long-lasting and unpredictable effects on an environment. This is about the ripple effect. You know, that kind smile, that buying someone's coffee in the line behind you, all of these things, it's like it has this beautiful ripple effect. So it's like pollinating. It's long lasting. And we never know. We never see the end ripple. Butterfly makes connections, sets a process in motion, all by doing what she loves to do. Butterfly does not concern herself with what the flowers might need from her. See, that's when we're doing what others want. She's not concerned with that. So Butterfly does not concern herself with what the flowers might need from her. When she focuses on what she needs from the flowers, what the soul needs, what is the soul asking me to do? That's in alignment. That's true north. That's pure and authentic. So when she focuses on what she needs from the flowers, the balance of the meadow is sustained. The butterfly spirit animal totem suggests that you do what you love to do and trust that it is part of a much larger symphony in nature. So the butterfly effect, the flapping of the wings and how it can create a tsunami, but it can also create something equally beautiful, that ripple effect from the unseen. So now we move to Astrology by Lauren. There are many things that can contribute to this feeling of uncertainty that so many are experiencing. Coupled with a sense of dread, recent aspects by inner planets brought home that feeling one gets when we are confronted with desperate circumstances, choices, and imminent loss. Combined with retrograde Mars in Cancer, our instinct is to protect and defend those things that are most important to us and our survival. But see, this is why this is all happening. So these are foundational things, our institutions, our governments, all of these things that we have come to rely on. And all of a sudden, we're reaching the height of its shadow. I mean, full on, there's no question. Oppression, suppression, manipulation, control, misinformation, chaos, confusion. But it's happening so that it will collapse. It will crumble. That makes us feel unstable, nervous. We have anxiety. And yet, when we can just sit when we can pierce the illusion, see through it, it doesn't mean the process is painless or fun or comfortable. But it also doesn't mean that in the end, at its core, in its center, divine intervention, higher hand, Aquarian matriarchal era, where we're going. And we must continue to choose that, to choose this higher octave, even so certainty in the face of uncertainty. See through the illusion. So the Saturn-Pluto transit is a transit of deep and upending change. The sorts of changes that can even feel like the inevitable destruction of all that we had previously relied and depended on. Losing these important structures in our lives can leave us feeling ungrounded and adrift in uncertain seas. But see, the point is, yes, it does, because we've come to rely on these things. And yet, when the height of its shadow is at the fore, what we recognize and realize is, again, we want to retain the best of the best, not the worst of the worst. And so it's through this process of letting things collapse and crumble. It's like through the ashes, the phoenix is reborn. It's not pretty. It can be painful. However, there's light at the end of the tunnel. There's always light. Another reason for this uncertainty is the current Neptune North Node conjunction in the sign of Pisces. Again, conjunction is where the nodes are points. There are nodal points for the moon, and Neptune is next to it. So Neptune to the North Node is neither positive nor negative. It depends on how we respond to and use it. So see, it's where we're placing the focus of our energies. It depends on how we respond and use it. But perhaps more than anything, it is tuning us into the recent nodal change, where the North Node just recently entered Pisces. So the nodes have just changed. The North Node is now in Pisces. The South Node is now in Virgo. The heroes of the next 18 months, because this is how long the nodes will be in Pisces and Virgo, are going to be found in this sign. The clerics, the bishops, the spiritual healers, the artists, the light workers, and compassionate seers. These are the sorts who usually work from behind the scenes. But now with the North Node in Pisces, they are going to have a more public presence. So these spiritual workers, our authentic selves, our soul source connection. So clerics, bishops, spiritual healers, artists, light workers, compassionate seers are all going to come to the fore. This is where their presence is going to become public. And why? Because again, the arc of destiny is forward. So where we're going requires this light, this greatness. It's the hermit's lantern. It's allowing others to see the way, the true way, the way forward. Not the illusion, but the true way, the path. Neptune is a planet of visionary ideals. The ideal becomes the new reality. But when distorted through its material expression, we are confronted with the lie run amok, unchained and totally unrestrained. Even the most level-headed people will find themselves wondering when Neptune meets the nodes in this way. This is often because Neptune also represents a void, an absence of something, And when we lack the information we need or are told untruths that hold no substance, we fill in the spaces with our own imaginations and stories, and then claim it as true. The truth speaks for itself. It doesn't need explanation. And the truth becomes a part of your past, a lie your future. So again, be very mindful, be very conscious in this time where this void is occurring. Don't just fill it with a truth or some truth or your truth. Look for the truth. And this is true of yourselves. To the works that Elizabeth was speaking about, when you face yourself, when you see something, a shadow aspect of yourself come up, and this can be yourself, your business, an institution, a government, a country. When we look at it, it gives us the opportunity to recognize, accept, and transcend, own, atone, release, to own it, own the truth, atone for the truth, and then release it. Because then we're not who we were a minute ago. But if we fill in the void with happy hooey, we're just layering stuff on. You're just making it, you're compounding it, you're making it worse for yourself. And again, under the weight of that, the roof collapses, the tent poles collapse. So, and when we lack the information we need, we are told untruths. So we have been getting an abundance of Neptune energy for years. This is the energy in which conspiracy theories replace science. Snake oil salesmen reign supreme and lies are seen as facts. This is also the very definition of the South Node in Virgo, opposite Neptune, because the nodes are opposite of each other. And Pisces is directly opposite of Virgo on the astrological wheel. So this is when Virgo is opposite Neptune, which is in its exasperation. So Virgo, the node in Virgo, is in its exasperation for needing facts and answers, attempts to make sense of the insensible and fill in the void. But again, don't fill in the void. Just sit with the truth. Let the truth speak. It will speak to you. And again, no judgments. Just let it speak to you. Own, atone, release. On February 4th, Jupiter, the traditional ruling planet of Pisces, stations direct. Whenever it does so, it always coincides with the trine from the sun, instilling hope and anticipation for what is about to unfold over the months ahead. And remember, they said, it's that Proud Mary, Ike and Tina Turner, we're going to start nice and rough, we're going to finish nice and easy. Jupiter, the great benefactor. So it's what's going to come over the months ahead. This year, it does so with a trine to Mercury as well. Jupiter is a planet of growth and expansion and will not be bound by limitations, borders, prejudice, or intolerance. Multicultural, multilingual, multiracial, a healthy and well-honed Jupiter embraces all without exception. And this is so true of again, the unseen, God, Source, Allah, Buddha, the all that is, they see us at our truest form. Divine beings, soul beings, divine, authentic, pure. There's no judgment. There's no, segregation and so forth. So here Jupiter, it's like embraces all without exception. Therefore, as these other transits cast us adrift, unground us, and leave us shattered on the shore, Jupiter aims to mitigate this. And also one might say, because it popped in from the outside, so one might say, well, what about those that are doing illicit things? And here's Jupiter being, non-judgmental and there for everyone. Yes. Because at every step of the way, in every step of the hero's journey, we have a choice. So here's Jupiter, here's Source, here's divine intervention, all saying, go back to your center, go to your center, go to your true north, go to your light. Whether you choose to do that or not is up to you. And that, again, what are all of these things? Businesses, institutions, governments, and so forth, they're all comprised of people. So what are we choosing? 8 billion souls on the planet. What are you choosing? And this guides and directs. Astrology by Lauren, she continues, it is also at Imbolc at this time of year, halfway between the winter solstice and the spring equinox, that we celebrate this ancient solar holiday with the first imminent signs of spring, snowdrops, crocuses, and the early signs of budding on trees and shrubs. Spring does not arrive all at once. It is a gradual process beginning first in the dark time of potential. One could say turbulent times, dark times. But spring does not arrive all at once, but it's budding, it's coming forth. Growth is gradual and may not yet be apparent. Even so, it is already beginning. Imbolc is the celebration of newness and rebirth, of hope and the return of the sun, the light, our life force. Neptune can also serve as a guide. Rather than looking outside of ourselves for meaning and direction, Neptune advises us to look within. It's always an inside job. It always begins within. Neptune, in its highest expression, is a planet and messenger of that one divine essence that we all share. That divine spark symbolized by the light of the sun, as well as the spark within. It's our soul. It's our life force, our divinity. Some are capable of hearing the still small voice of Neptune's spiritual essence a little better than others. And those who dare to listen are more likely to hear. Neptune speaks to us through our conscious, through the subtleties of the intuition and our dreams. Neptune speaks to us through the part of the heart that is centered in the divine and which brings us the faith that is needed in times of uncertainty. It is that slight, effervescent kernel of hope that even in the face of extraordinary change, the good will somehow prevail. And so, may it be that we find comfort and guidance in these liminal times. And what really came forward to me is here it's the hangman in the tarot. And when you see with the hangman, there one leg is strapped to the tree, but it's the living tree. So, and the head is illuminated, meaning there's wisdom. It's ruled by Pisces, so Neptune is conjunct the North Node in Pisces. It represents water, air over water, this intuition. And then, of course, its ruling planet is Neptune. So again, and this speaks to, from tarot.com, it speaks to that it's this energy that is arrested and awaiting judgment. So just realize that, again, when are you being called? What stage of the butterfly medicine are you in? And it could be, again, it will vary. But also just to recognize, because the hangman also represents a new perspective, how to look at things anew. And so this number 4 from the unseen, the angel number 2525, and hexagram 50, the cauldron, it's 4, it's foundational. So these two messages, angel number 2525 and hexagram 50, re-listen to them in the show again. They're foundational. We've got certainty in the face of uncertainty. Make room, space to grow and change. And then number 2 from the unseen, they said, it's not over till it's over. Well, that's a wonderful song, and I had the lyrics were playing in my head. The group is Starship. Love the fact that that's the group, the band name. The lyrics, listen, we don't call the shots here. We don't make the rules. We take what we get what we can. That's learning the hard way here on the streets. You can't build a dream without a plan. Passion speaks. Let them hear you speak. Passion speaks passion, being authentic and true, your authentic self. This clarity, resistance, and renewal. Play for keeps. They play to win. We play for keeps. See, it's chess, not checkers. It's playing the long game. And then the chorus line, it's not over till it's over. It's not over till we get it right. The odds are against us. They say we don't stand a chance. Well, there's no giving up, no giving in. When push comes to shove, you got to fight. For what you love, you do what you must, do what you can. And again, passion speaks. Let them hear you speak. Show up. Shine your light, true and authentic. No apologies. Just, do no harm. So shine that light, because play for keeps. They play to win. We play for keeps. It's not over till it's over. It's not over till we get it right. And so we have this message from the unseen of, it's not over till it's over. 3, keep it simple. Grounded, authentic, pure, and true. Keep it simple. Again, the truth is simple. It doesn't need explanation. The truth speaks for itself. You being authentic and true to yourself, the butterfly, pollinating, doesn't worry about what other people think or want or need. What it does is it listens to its soul source connection, and it goes as guided. So keep it simple. Doesn't need to be complex. 10 fingers, 10 toes, 10 commandments. It's simple. And then number 5 from the unseen, lean into, quote, your lightness, your higher octave self. So it's number 5. It denotes change. And the unseen is saying, lean into your lightness. So it's not lean into your ego, mind, personality, lean into your shadow. The message is lean into your lightness, your light being, your higher octave self, your soul self. And last but not least, number 6. And they said, so we're talking about material possessions and all of this craziness, this loud chaos of the patriarchal era, things that are material. So money, currency, buildings, status. And they said, you can't take it with you, exclamation point. These material possessions. And my sister often says, it's not like, it's not like they roll up a U-Haul so you can take your possessions with you to heaven. These physical things, they don't go with us. So you can't take them with you. So be very mindful. I started to write, so be mindful, and they said, be very mindful of what you do take with you. See, what we do take with us, our thoughts, our actions, our deeds, how we love, what we do in this life, all of those things we take with us. They're a part of our journey. They're a part of our experience. They are a part of our soul. The set dressing, homes, cars, titles, bank accounts, all of those things, they don't go with us. How we got them, how we treat others, how we harness that energy does. So the unseen is saying, you can't take it with you, material possessions. So be very mindful of what you do take with you. And I'm going to close with, it was Shirley MacLaine. It's in one of her books. And as she went on her journey, her spiritual journey, and she said, I'm going to be very visceral, very literal about this. I want to know if it's live or Memorex. Is it real or is it happy hooey? And as she went along, she made a statement. She said, I came to realize, and she was speaking about multi-incarnation, and she said, if I've been here before, meaning her soul has been here before as another human, another life experience, which means most likely I may be here again, meaning again, Earth experience. So if I've been here before and I'll be here again, what I do in this lifetime matters. That's probably sums up this entire episode. What we do in this lifetime matters. So take each choice with care, with consideration. Be willing to look at yourselves. We all, as a society, 8 billion souls, doesn't matter where you are around the globe. what you do in this lifetime matters. And those things you take with you. That's karma. That's dharma. That, your soul, you take with you. But all the, the material atoms, they don't go with us. They don't, again, load up the U-Haul and go to, heaven with it. So do right by yourself. Do right by others. So thank you all again for being on this journey. It's magical, it's turbulent, and yet it's divine and perfect. It's not over till it's over, and we will do well together. So until then, be well, be kind, and we will see you next week.